All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College Application and Website Development, or AWD1100 Programming Fundamentals with C# course, I've been creating a series of video presentations that are based on the PowerPoint slides for our textbook for the class, that being Muroc C# 7th edition. And without boring you by going through it again, I'm in the middle of Chapter 19. And what I did was I took from Chapter 19, I took the MMA books database that they had given and that they had put in an SQL server, and I have converted it over to my SQL format. So here are the table schemas. Here is all the data, and it took some time, you should probably guess. And I added some of the constraints that were in there. All right, we will go over all this stuff in class. I did want to mention one thing. If you notice, under the invoices, this is an auto increment field. In fact, that is an auto increment. The order options is an auto increment. There's only one of those. Are those the only two that have auto increment? And the customers is an auto increment. All right. So why am I telling you that? Well, when we do go through here and you look at this, what I ended up doing for the customers and for the invoices, there are like several hundred customers. So for the customers that are in here, typically you don't put a number in there like this, because it's an auto increment field, and you can see it is auto incrementing, and there are also a total of, I don't know how many, 699 customers. All right, so with that said, I left those numbers in there. You typically would not do that when in your schema you have said that the field is auto increment. And also in here, this one as well, you'll see that it's not in order. All right, but I had set that up as an auto increment field, and I guess it didn't have to be. All right, so not only did I set it up like what you see in here, but I tried to add the constraints that are in here as well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 constraints, and if you look here down at the bottom, I have added these. This was just setting the default for the quantity on hand to 0, but these were the 4 constraints. So I set up 4 foreign key constraints. I had to do some dinkering around, etc. And I found an error that I somehow managed to not copy certain records. But the point is, what we have now in our system here, when you look, is we have a database that's called MMA Books. It has in it 696 customers, and you can see some of them right there. It has 59 invoice line items based off of 40 invoices, 1 order option, 16 products, and it has 53 states. Now, the reason the states are 53 is we've got the District of Columbia in there. We've also got Puerto Rico in there and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And that's why it's 53 instead of 50. All right. So we've got all that. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But what I was going through with you was I was going through this article in here. All right. And we had gotten through the first 10 pages. And they said to come in here. So I'm going to do this, and I will see whether or not it works. All right. So I've done all the stuff for setting up the database. So it says, let's start. Let us install. Well, we're using 2022. We are using the community edition, etc. All right. We don't have to worry about launch. We've already got that up there. So I'm going to try doing what they do here. I have absolutely no idea if what I'm about to do here is going to work or not work. All right. So Start of Visual Studio 2022. I'm going to create a new project, and that's where I am. It says created for a Windows Forms app, C# with a solution name of your choice. So you've already seen this kind of thing before, so we've done that. And they're calling it MySQL Connect. They're calling both the solution and the project MySQL Connect, which is just fine. So we are creating a new project here. It will be a Windows Forms app.net. This will be MySQL Connect, and it'll be the name of both the project and the solution. I don't want to put it in my Chapter 17 and 18 programs, so I am going to come in here, and in my desktop, I'm going to add a new folder. And I'm going to call it CH19 programs. CH19 programs. Programs, even though there's probably only going to be one of them, but that's okay. There we go. So I've now got that. So I'm going to click in the ellipsis here, and I'm going to find it there, CH19 programs, select. So MySQL Connect and CH19 programs, and the solution and the project name are the same. So I'm going to click Create, and that'll give me my blank form. You've seen this over and over again in here. I'm going to move this over, so I've got a little room. I'm going to move this over, so I've got a little room, and it's looking fine right now. All right, so let me jump back into my presentation here. That is here, and it is not there. It is here. All right, so as you can see, the Solution Explorer is shown below with all the goodies, so to speak, in there. Well, let's see what we've got, and it should be pretty much the same. Now, what they have shown in here, where it might look a little different, is they've got some stuff open. So MySQL Connect, properties they've got open. All right, references they've got open. Forms and program they've got open, I think, but we'll look. So properties looks good. References, they've got an app config in there that we don't. There it is. Good. So let me close up the references. There's the app config. The form, we've got the form designer file. All right, I haven't put any code in yet, but I think it'll look just like the other one that's shown on here in just a second. And we've got our program file, which we don't need that. Okay, so we're looking just fine. So let's jump back into here then. And I'm 13 pages through this 22-page article. All right. Now, I do have this database, and I am going to have to connect to it. It says there are numerous options, but no MySQL database option. It says this can be resolved by installing the MySQL connector and MySQL for Visual Studio. All right. So I'm going to go to Tools on the menu bar and select Connect to Database. All right, and that's what you see here. All right. Again, I'm just following the steps that are shown in here. All right. This can be resolved by installing the MySQL connector and MySQL for Visual Studio. So we want to come in here, and it says next we need to install MySQL connectors and MySQL for Visual Studio. Visit the following sites to obtain the download file for the respective installations. So this and this. So I've got them both open. MySQL provides standards-based drivers for JDBC, which is Java Database Connectivity, ODBC, which is Open Database Connectivity, and .NET, enabling developers or allowing developers to embed MySQL directly into their applications. Download the ADO.NET driver for MySQL and the MySQL installer. So let's first try to find the ADO.NET driver for MySQL. There's the ADO.NET driver for MySQL. You can see it's the first one listed there, so I'm going to click download. All right. It says download it. So I'm going to go to the download page. Looks like I want that 32-bit installer. Should be a recommended download. So let's go in here and click download. Log in now or sign up for a free account. I don't think I have one. Okay. Must have upper and lowercase letters, at least one number and special character, not match or contain email, and be at least 8 characters long. Okay, I think that's now okay. Job title. I think I've signed up with everything. It says passwords do not match. Fantastic. Should match now. Hopefully they do. Verify your email address. Okay. Should come up soon. There it is. It says you already have an Oracle account with this email address. Okay. So I should do a sign in. Ideally, that's the right password. So I can download. There it comes. All right. And I'm also supposed to come over. Let's see, that's the MySQL connector. And the other one was so here's the other one, MySQL installer. that one as well. And I'm going to right mouse click on here and choose open. And it's going to walk me through everything. I'm just going to take the typical and do an install. Hopefully that won't take too long. And if something goes wrong or for whatever reason this doesn't work, I'll just end up blowing this whole thing up. That's okay. All right, that one's done. Let's try this one. No. That one may not have been installed because it wants 2019 and I'm not going to go backwards. So this may not work, but that's okay. Let's go back to this one, the MySQL installer for Visual Studio. See if, I'm wondering if there is one. Development releases. I'm just wondering if there happens to be one that will work for Visual Studio, Visual Studio 2022. All right, so with this one, when I open it, if it does come up and say that I need to have Visual Studio, well, this looks better. Okay. Developer default sounds about right. Did not find any packages suitable for installation. Okay. Let's do the full install and just see if it finds anything. Next. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do from here, so we're going to see whether or not this works, okay? All right. Gone through these steps, or at least tried to. Once these are done, restart Visual Studio. So let me save this. Let me cancel. File. Save all. Let me exit Visual Studio. And I've got another copy open for something I was working on earlier. Let me exit that as well. And let me restart Visual Studio. And we'll just open up our MySQL solution. All right, so once it's there, restart, go to the Solution Explorer, right-click on the project, click on Add, and select the reference. Okay. Click on the project, add reference. All right, so click on the project name, choose add, choose reference, and what I'm hoping to find in here now what I'm hoping to find in here now is I'm on page 19 of 30, is I want to click on MySQL data and the MySQL data entity for EF6, and then click on OK. This system is probably already chosen, so I want to look under assemblies, it looks like. No items found. Doggone it. I did not think this was going to end up being Such a cluster. All right, so let's try SQL in there and see if we find anything. That's what they searched for. All right, there's some MySQL. There's MySQL data. There's MySQL data entity framework, and there's even a MySQL web. I don't know if I need that one or not. They didn't show it, but you know what? There, I've added all those references. All right, thank goodness that worked, or appears to have. And they want system.data. Well, system.data.sql XML. Let's double check and make sure we have that one. So again, project, add, reference, and under here I'm going to search for, I'm just trying to keep this consistent with what they had did and I didn't. So system.data, let's check for SQL XML. All right, so there we're going to add that reference as well. Now I've added every one they have plus one extra that they didn't show. All right. Okay, so all that's done. So now let us go back to the Server Explorer, double click on Data Connections, and choose Connection. Okay. So nice if I could just cut that down. Go back to the Server Explorer. So View, I think Server Explorer, there it is. So that changes over here. That's the Server Explorer. Double click on Data Connections and choose Add Connection. So what if I right mouse click and choose Add Connection? All right, you saw this before. And it says under data source, now we should see a MySQL database option. And it says this wasn't there primarily when we had installed the connector for Visual Studio, so we'll be able to see now whether or not that worked. So if I, whoops, don't want to do that. If I click on this and I change, it is not shown in there. Son of a gun. Okay, well, I'm going to have to take a break here. We'll make one more part of this, so we've gotten through about the first 20 or so pages of this article. All right, so I am on page 20 of 30. All right, so under here, it does not show MySQL database, so it's pretty obvious that that didn't work, because that's what I'm supposed to see. Yet, if I bring it up on mine, and I click change, what you'll notice with the ones that are underneath here is I do not have. So I've got Access, ODBC, SQL Server, SQL Server Database, and Oracle and other, but I do not have the MySQL database. So I'm going to have to try to track that down. Apologize for this, but I do not want to go on because right now I cannot connect to a MySQL database. So we'll hopefully bring that up in the next portion.